from the CBS Bay Area studios, this is KPIX 5 News.
The Bay Area battered by a powerful storm. Streets flooded, drivers stranded, and the rain's not over yet. It's just about 6 o'clock this Saturday, April 7th. Good morning. I'm Julie Watts.
And I'm Devin Fehely. New this morning, a plane has crashed in Sonoma County, killing one person on board. The Press Democrat reports the single-engine plane crashed just after 10 p.m. near the Petaluma airport. Weather in the area at the time of the crash was rainy and windy. It's not clear if anyone else was hurt.
Now, storm watch. The heavy rain blew through overnight. You can see from our cameras of the Bay Bridge the downpours on drivers. Some parts of the Bay Area have flooded. We turned to high-def Doppler this morning to show you where the showers are right now. We've seen them moving into the South Bay over the last couple of hours. In fact, Mark, our weather watcher from Santa Clara, reports the rain really started coming down there around 4:30 or so this morning. So far, his rain gauge recorded about 1/3 of an inch of rain just so far today. You can take Here's a closer look at the South Bay, where you're seeing moderate to sometimes heavy showers coming down from San Jose to Saratoga, Sunnyvale, Palo Alto. One-day rainfall totals in San Francisco, nearly 2.5 inches, and that ranks as the second rainiest day in April. It's more rain than we usually see in the entire month of April. As you can see right now, showers actually starting to taper off a bit here in the city and through the East Bay. We are seeing moderate rainfall right now through San Leandro, spreading east and north to Walnut Creek. Berkeley seeing some light rainfall, and we do have pockets of heavy rain right over the looks like the Golden Gate Bridge right now, just north of San Francisco. Highest rainfall totals have been, as typical, in the North Bay Hills, upwards of 7 inches for the peak rainfall totals there. We are seeing some flooding, some North Bay rivers above flood stage. In fact, a flood watch does remain in effect until 11 o'clock this morning, and then that's when showers begin to taper off a bit, making way for warmer, drier weather for the second half of the weekend. I do want to note the Willowbrook at Penn Grove Park has peaked above flood stage this morning. That's in Petaluma. We do have our Jackie Ward in the North Bay, and she will be joining us from Cotati. Oh, here she is. Jackie, good morning to you. Now, we have seen some moderate flooding there in the North Bay. What are you seeing there?
To be honest, I think I got the good end of this storm coverage because it's not raining here anymore, and it took us a while to even find a closed street in Petaluma. That's where we started. We had to come to Cotati, and as you can see right behind me, they have the flooded sign out. This is a very common situation right now happening in the North Bay because a lot of these streets, as you were mentioning, Julie, are flooded, and I think a lot of the worst happened last night, though, as far as this area is concerned. It got so bad in Petaluma that police had to put out a warning that drivers may run into flooded roads on the northern side of town. Rubler Road was at one point impassable unless your vehicle was high up off the ground like this person's. Arjo Vasquez ran into one last night when the storm was wreaking havoc.
Yeah, but it's worse up there.
What'd you see up there?
I seen a car, like Subaru, Outback with the trailer, and it's sunk.
Just before 5 o'clock last night, rescue crews had to help a family in an SUV trapped in the high water. The water was waist high and rising. So rescuers deployed jet skis, told the couple and their dogs to get on board, and then pulled them to safety. So as we've been mentioning, there are several road closures in the North Bay this morning, especially in places like Sebastopol and here in Cotati. So we'll be bringing you the latest. We'll see what other road closures we can tell you about in the next half hour. In Cotati, Jackie Ward, KPIX 5.
One area that was affected by the Pineapple Express storm is San Francisco. The evening commute traffic yesterday was worse than normal, and a stretch of the Great Highway remains closed because of flooding. Some folks, however, ignored the hassles and decided to enjoy the large puddles created by the rain. The San Francisco Giants game was postponed because of the weather, and the start of today's game has been delayed until 3:05 p.m.
Jackie Ward right now is live in Petaluma, where there is some minor flooding this morning. What's the latest, Jackie?
Yeah, that's right. So obviously the rain has stopped here, which is good news for people because, man, did Sonoma County take an absolute beating. We're actually in Cotati right now, and you can see the damage that Mother Nature left behind. There's a big puddle here, and there are still a lot of flooding signs and street closures all over the North Bay, including here at Old Redwood Highway and West Railroad Ave. This is a much different scenario than what we saw last night. That's when a couple and their dogs had to be rescued from their car. This was just before 5 last night in Bloomfield, a town just northwest of Petaluma. A man, a woman, and their dogs were trapped in high water that was waist high and rising. Rescuers had to use jet skis to get everyone to safety.
What happened there?
We got caught in the high water.
Is someone else also over there?
My wife's in the car, yeah.
She's all right?
She's not right.
So to add to what Julie has been talking about this morning in terms of just how much water accumulated, the National Weather Service said some spots got 1.5 to 2 inches of rain across Sonoma County, closer to 4 to 5 inches in the mountains. So that is so much rain in such a really short amount of time. So there are still street closures and flooding advisories in place, especially in places like Valley Ford and Sebastopol in the North Bay. But we are here live in Cotati. Jackie Ward, KPIX 5.
The storm is also slamming the Sierra, where the Truckee River is filling up fast. Across the state line in Reno, the river is expected to crest just below flood stage tomorrow afternoon. Yosemite Valley is closed right now due to the threat of flooding. The Merced River is forecast to peak 5 feet above flood stage today. And right now, PG&E says a little more than 1,000 homes and businesses are without power in the Bay Area. Earlier this morning, more than 10,000 customers in San Francisco had no electricity because of an underground equipment failure. That situation was resolved a couple of hours ago. And in other news this morning, Facebook is admitting it's secretly been deleting messages sent by CEO Mark Zuckerberg. The company says it has been going on for several years with various people's inboxes, and the recipients on the Messenger app weren't told. Because of this realization, Facebook will soon give users an unsend option. And that's not the only change. Facebook will start verifying advertisers who run political ads. It's an effort to prevent a repeat of the Russian trolling we saw in the last election. Ads will be labeled as political, and the content must show who paid for them.
Well, the war of words between the United States and China is sparking fears of a full-fledged trade war, each country threatening billions of dollars in tariffs. President Trump accuses China of stealing U.S. intellectual property and other violations of global trade rules. He's threatening another $100 billion in tariffs on top of the $50 billion announced earlier. He tells a New York radio show any short-term pain from the trade war would be worth it.
So we may take a hit, and you know what? Ultimately, we're going to be much stronger for it. But it's something we had to do.
It's already roiling markets. It's impacting prices for agricultural goods. It's creating a lot of uncertainty.
So far, no tariffs have been implemented, and the White House says it is open to negotiations. China calls the threat a big mistake. And for the second year in a row, the president will break from tradition and skip the White House Correspondents' Dinner. That means he won't be there to get roasted by a comedian, and he won't have the chance to poke fun at the press and his political opponents. Instead, White House Press Secretary Sarah Sanders will take his place. The dinner is later this month.
And more than 100,000 California teens are now pre-registered to vote. It's part of the recent state push to encourage teens to participate in politics. Starting next year, eligible teens will automatically be pre-registered when they get their driver's license.
Well, UFC star Conor McGregor is in trouble with the law over an unscheduled fight backstage. Video from TMZ Sports appears to show the mixed martial artist throwing a hand truck at a busload of rival fighters in Brooklyn on Thursday. McGregor and his crew can also be seen tossing trash cans at the vehicle. 2 fighters on the bus suffered bad cuts, forcing them to withdraw from their scheduled fights this weekend. McGregor appeared in court yesterday to answer charges of assault and criminal mischief. He was released after posting $50,000 bail. At this point, it's unclear what prompted the melee or what it could mean for McGregor's future as a fighter.
The agency in charge of the Sausalito Ferry dock has been told speed up construction or risk losing federal funding. This is a rendering of what the dock would look like. According to the Marin IJ, the feds have told the Golden Gate Bridge District to make progress on the project by September or risk losing $14 million in grants. Bridge officials say the project's been slowed because of design issues, but they should meet the deadline.
A major expansion is in the works for an ice skating complex in San Jose. Sharks Ice on South 10th Street is where the San Jose Sharks train. It's also where the San Jose State hockey team plays its home games. And there are public skating programs there and training programs. Sharks management, which operates the facility, has filed plans with the city to add 2 new rinks. And one would be a competition rink with up to 4,500 seats.
We're getting a first look at the public art project for Treasure Island. These are proposals from 7 internationally acclaimed artists. 3 sites on Treasure Island are available: the Waterfront Plaza, Building 1, and Yerba Buena Hilltop Park. It's now up to the public to share what they think between now and April 13th. To weigh in, go to sfartscommission.org.
Well, a lot of Californians are failing when it comes to saving water. Conservation is back to pre-drought levels, but reporter Carlos Correa shows us some farmers in the Central Valley found a way to save millions of gallons.
When it comes to water conservation, area farmers are helping lead the way with innovative measures that go beyond the fields.
Get it right to where it needs to be.
Crews from GNS Farms in Brentwood have been quickly working to get one of its last fields planted before the rain moves in. The small family-owned business is one of the companies leading the way towards water conservation.
There's a big process to it, checking leaks. Since we're irrigating less, but we're irrigating more frequent, we're constantly running our pumps.
Farmers are using a drip tape irrigation system. It's underground and allows the crops to be specifically targeted in a much more efficient way. It also helps growers save a lot of water without ever damaging a crop.
So we've implemented, now we're 100%, and we've seen changes.
The system takes a lot of time and hard work to install, but plays an important part in conserving water. Pumps are installed in every field along with filter systems. Farmers say they spend tens of thousands of dollars on the technology, which leaders with the Byron Bethany Irrigation District say is benefiting both farmers and nearby residents.
The BBID supplies raw water to the community of Mountain House, which is then treated, and that's Mountain House's drinking water supply. Mountain House as well continues to prioritize saving water.
Just recently, state water officials reported Californians are now using 18% more water than at the same time in 2017. That's nearly the same amount before the drought was declared. Farmers say they are still working on finding other ways to conserve.
The farmers are certainly some of the most inventive folks around.
And the district saved 6.5 million gallons of water last year compared to 2014, all thanks to the changes the growers have made. In Stockton, Carlos Correa, KPIX 5.
Hey, Julie, so the rain is going to be tapering off.
Yeah, the front is slowly sinking south this morning, and as you can see, we pretty much have already dried out for the northern half of our viewing area. Right now, San Jose still seeing showers. South Bay going to likely see showers for a little while longer, and then the heaviest rainfall will taper off. Right now, though, heavy rainfall over 85. If you can stay off the road this morning, I'd do that for another half hour, 45 minutes or so. Saratoga seeing light to moderate rainfall. Moderate rainfall in San Jose, moderate to heavy. Milpitas seeing rainfall right now, moderate rainfall through Sunnyvale, Palo Alto, Fremont. All of this will continue to taper off and look a little bit more like we do right now in San Francisco and the North Bay. We will still see those scattered showers from time to time as we make our way throughout the day. A lot of rainfall so far. In fact, yesterday we saw nearly 2.5 inches, and it was just under 2.5 inches, and that actually is more rain than we normally see the entire month of April. Right now, you're looking at a damp and foggy Golden Gate Bridge. Temperatures are mild this morning in the 60s for the most part area wide. So off to a mild start and still a little damp. And as you can see from the satellite perspective, this area of low pressure is slowly moving inland. That front is sinking south, and as it does, we are going to see those showers taper off from north to south. Futurecast painting the picture, showing that the rainfall we've seen so far this morning continues to dissipate, and then sort of scattered showers, a bit of a damp feel for the second half of the day. We'll keep some clouds around, and I wouldn't rule out a scattered shower or so, but you're not going to have the downpour, the heavy downpours we've seen over the last couple of days. Futurecast showing we continue dry into the evening hours. By Sunday, though, get ready for sunshine and warmer temperatures. We start to rebound with those temperatures on Sunday, even more so Monday, or we're flirting with near 80 degrees for some of the warmest spots inland. In the meantime, 3 things to remember. Rain continues this morning in the South Bay, still wet and windy for just a little little while longer. That flood advisory in the North Bay expires at 11 o'clock, and they might let it expire a little bit early. Drying late morning and then lingering showers throughout the day today. Sunday looking dry, with warmer temperatures that continue to climb as we make our way into the work week. High temperatures for today, right around average for this time of year. We're topping out in the 60s, pretty much area wide. Upper 60s for folks in the South Bay. Santa Clara 69, as well as San Jose. 67 Fremont. Upper 50s for Half Moon Bay and Pacifica. Inland East Bay, temperatures in the mid to upper 60s for the most part. 68 Antioch, 66 Pittsburgh. That's easy for me to say, isn't it? And 64 in Walnut Creek. Around the Bay today, temperatures in the low to mid 60s, 62 Sausalito, 65 Alameda, and 64 in Berkeley, 66 Santa Rosa. Farther north, temperatures in the low 60s to upper 50s, 59 in Lakeport and Clear Lake. Showers today, drying on Sunday, warming Monday, flirting with near 80 inland. And then we see another round of rain coming through on Wednesday. That one, a very light system compared to what we see now. Typical spring showers for you then.